Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So I'm sorry for anyone who's been waiting for the Aquarius reading. I am not letting you down again. You are getting a reading this week. But I've been away. So yeah, I'm kind of doing the readings as and when it naturally feels like the energy wants me to do the readings, and obviously I was away. But while I was away, I did start to channel for you. So I have got a little bit of stuff that started to come through kind of when I was off trying to enjoy my vacation. Yeah, I've got some knickknacks that you can kind of look at while I do the intuitive messages. There's something coming through about how it's like everything looks better when it's wet, which sounds really rude now that I'm saying it, Aquarius. But like when you find the things, like it just kind of looks like really dirty now. But when you pull things off the beach and they're kind of wet, they kind of have this glisten and this shine to them that make them like these mussels, like they look really, really like this beautiful shade of purple kind of when they're wet on the beach. And of course, they're really pearlescent on the inside as well. So like, look at this fascinating one with all it. Like, I don't know, I had so much fun kind of like going through the beach and kind of trolling the beach. And then they have this kind of pearlescent shine inside them. So there's something about because I did buy these actual crystals as well. They had some kind of like slightly more unique crystals. I mean, it's what is it? Lapis lazuli, tiger's eye, and then whatever this is, it's kind of like this weird, kind of like textured crystal. It feels more like it's almost like a lizard or something. I don't know. It's not showing up on camera very well, but it's green. But like these are polished, right? They're tumbled and they're polished. And of course the stones that you find, like it was kind of like a rocky pebble beach. The stones that you find kind of tumbled around by the ocean, they kind of look really beautiful. They look like this when you're pulling them off the beach and they're all wet and glistening. And then as they dry, they kind of like lose that sheen. So water symbolizing emotions, it could be something about, for you Aquarius, it could be something about people that you meet, right? And when you first meet them and there's a lot of emotion involved, that relationship has kind of like a sheen and a glisten, and things seem more beautiful. But then as perhaps time progresses and those emotions dry up a little bit, you could find that relationship isn't quite as bright and shiny as you thought it was. You kind of have to go and find the things that are more it's like more their natural state or something like that. There's definitely a message in there. I'm not quite sure what it is, but take it as it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. Watch out for double numbers. I saw 1010 when I was starting to do this reading today. The main message that I kind of channeled for you, as I'm going to just stop moving these aside, I think, as I'm talking. The main message that I kind of channeled for you, kind of while I was on vacation, was transforming knowledge into wisdom and wisdom into power. So it's a two-step thing that you're doing. So transforming knowledge into wisdom. So not just knowing something, it's like being wise enough to know what to do with it. So I feel like you could be, because the whale card came out for you, I kind of took some of my decks on holiday. The whale card came out for you, and the whale symbolizes kind of like deep secrets or deep hidden feelings that are coming up to the surface, or something that needs exploring. It's kind of like really deep down inside. So something that's it feels like a secret that's been shared with you, or something coming into your awareness about some sort of secret, something like this, where it's like, okay, I know this now, but I need to know what to do with it. I need to turn this into a source of power, right? To have the wisdom to turn it into power, because you're getting like the Emperor card, the Hierophant card, the Magician card. So some very, very strong energy, and Six of Wands, which is success. So yeah, it's not only knowing this secret, it's like having the intelligence to play this to your advantage in some sort of way, which is fascinating. Now, you also had the butterfly, the crow, and the owl, and this is where the message came from. So transforming with the butterfly, right? A new start, something fresh, something that feels like expansive for you. The crow, which is, again, as an imagery for me about kind of secret wisdom, hidden power, and the owl, which again is quite a secretive energy, but again it's a symbol of wisdom, right? Again, quite secretive, because owls kind of are a nighttime animal. And this is also telling me something about again, being on vacation. So sometimes I think the messages come through my experiences. I kind of went for a bit of a walk, and my like intuitively, I was really, really drawn to this area. I was like, I really want to go up that hill. I really, do you know, it's just like I had this urge to go and explore a certain spot, and I was like very, very drawn to it. And so eventually, with about an hour before I had to get my train, I went and explored this area, and there was a henge there. Now, it wasn't an ancient henge. It was, you know, a recent structure, but still the idea of a henge, right, being like, you know, like a stone henge, like being a power spot, like a ring of rocks, you know, aligned with the sun. And I was kind of experimenting, kind of standing in different places. And there was one rock that felt like, you know, if hypothetically it was an old henge, like this is where, you know, the main chief would stand, this is where the main king would stand, and then they had like a platform in the center, and I was like, well, this is where perhaps, you know, the person speaking to the king would stand. And I thought, you know, who would speak to a king but an advisor? And I stood up on that plinth, and I was like, I feel like I have a real position of authority here to speak to the chief, is the way it was coming through. But I was quite, something had annoyed me, something had got me quite angry with the person who was stood in the chief's spot, coincidentally. I wasn't like angry, but I was annoyed, you know, that kind of like annoyed feeling. And as I stood up on this plinth, all the crows, and there must have been about 30 crows in the woodland around me, just started cawing and flying around. And like, it was coincidental, but this feeling of like stepping onto this platform to address the king and having all the, you know, my own anger, it felt like my own anger activating or frustrating the crows, right? And then they all settled. So as I kind of like settled into this spot, all the crows settled on these kind of like wires, and it was like they were all facing me, they were all quiet, they were all looking at me, and it was like they were waiting for me to speak, or they were waiting to see what happened between, you know, the seer perhaps, or the oracle and the king. So a strange feeling coming through that experience. And again, it's all just storytelling, right? I don't think I'm this oracle addressing a king in real life, right? I was just exploring this henge, but the imagery that was coming to me, especially with this strange thing about the crows, and it had this feeling of like, you know, obviously a chief has power, because it's interesting, you had the emperor and the hierophant in your reading that I kind of did before this occurred. You know, the hierophant being a mouthpiece of God, perhaps the church, some kind of oracle of Delphi, perhaps, however you want to put that, you know, the person speaking from spirit, because crows are someone like an animal that communicates from spirit. And you know, the emperor type character who is of earthly authority. So interesting that you know, the person who would normally have all the authority in the earthly realm, being this king or chief character or emperor character, being almost dwarfed by the occurrence of this natural phenomenon, or this something that feels beyond, like, you know, somebody who represents something beyond the earth. So that's an interesting thing to come through if you think about old historical power plays between kings and church, right? I don't know, it's just fascinating to me. So your songs that came through kind of while I was away were Easier Than Lying by Halsey and Bitch by Meredith Brooks. So perhaps, I don't know who you are. This is the thing. You can flip it and reverse it depending on which side you're falling into. But I kind of have this feeling that it's both, right? It's like it's mirroring. So it's coming through with quite Libran energy, because I know that Aquarius, you and Libra seem to have this communication through your readings quite often, where it's like, I always feel like a Libra and Aquarius are kind of like having some kind of difficulties together. And I know Aquarius used to come through with this, again, I don't know if it's you or somebody's doing this to you, but this kind of like demonization of the feminine, this demonization of a strong, empowered woman, especially a sexual woman. It was coming through with this kind of like chastising energy for a while. And then your readings are kind of progressing with this this energy of like, well, it's in your image I'm made kind of thing, or like, if I'm a devil, it's because you made me a devil. So again, it could be talking about femininity in general, and kind of like the history of like the interplay of like, more patriarchal religions like the church, and more feminine religions like paganism. And kind of how, a natural religion was demonized in the kind of mid-centuries there. So, but yeah, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint, I do not feel ashamed. I think it's cool. You do what you do, but don't try to save me. You make me more and more a villain each day. So again, Aquarius, I don't know if it is coming through with your energy, but it's also coming through with like, it's almost like you at some point perhaps cast some kind of judgment on another person, possibly a Libra, where you were like, oh, I don't like the way they're behaving in, like a bad way, they're evil, like, I don't know what it is, but then it's like, recognizing, and this feels like it's the secret for you, recognizing that it's actually something within yourself that you're projecting onto them. With that line, where is it? Whatever you give to me from yourself, you take. So it's like, whatever you're accusing me of, it's something, it's a projection of something within you, is the way it's coming through. So recognizing this, it's like, this is the secret. Hang on. I'm perhaps, it's that energy. Again, it doesn't have to be you. It could be somebody doing this to you. It's got this kind of like two-way energy to it. It's something like, let me think of something. Going to a dinner party, right? Going to a family meal, and there's always someone there who eats with their hands, and you've always been taught to eat with a knife and fork, the fork in this hand, knife in this hand, this is how you eat, no elbows on the table, right? So you're doing it in this very kind of mannered way. It's making me think of like Pretty Woman. Somebody quoted that this week, slippery little suckers. I was like, I know that line, what's it from? She was like, the dinner party scene in Pretty Woman. But it's that kind of thing, right? You've been taught to do it the mannered way, right? The proper way. This is how you eat in a formal setting around other people. It's just good manners. But then this other person comes in and they eat with their hands, right? And the elbows on the table, but they're vivacious and they're funny, and everybody's like, oh, hang on, they're not following the rules. How terrible. But then it's like, you were also going, they're not following the rules. How terrible. Until you thought, hang on, I want to eat with my hands too, right? I want to put my elbows on the table. I'm only criticizing them because I've been brought up with these rules, right? And it's like, well, what if I don't want to follow the rules as well? Do you see what I mean? And then it's like almost using this person as it's like they've inspired you to recognize that you want to break the rules too, or hang on, like maybe these rules are stupid rules. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's something like that. It's like you're seeing the pompousness of something, and then you're coming into this energy where it's liberating you from something. It's like you're doing the same thing. You're like, do you know what? Like, what you reap, you sow. If you judge me, that judgment's just going to come back on yourself, right? He without sin cast the first stone, and that kind of thing. If you're a hater, then hate the creator. It's in your image that I made. So yeah, that thing, like, it's cool, you do what you do, but don't try to save me. So it's starting to come through this very, very Aquarian version of this energy, where it's like, don't try and tell me what to do. Don't try and paint me into a box. I'm a rebel, right? Very Aquarian. I'm a rebel. I do things my own way. I'm different. I'm not like the rest of them. I'm going to go and do my own thing. And if you want to call me a demon, or if you want to criticize me, if you want to knock me down, you're just projecting. It's like you've realized that when people, it's like, because you've realized that you've been projecting onto somebody else, you've realized that other people are projecting onto you, and it's not really about you at all, and it's liberating for you, because it's like, yeah, it's like they're judging me, but it's not really about me. It's something that they're working through, right? They're just using me like a soundboard or a mirror to kind of like figure it out for themselves. So actually, I don't have to listen to their rules at all. I can just do what I want to do, right? It's something like that. It's really cool. Okay, so 14 minutes in, that's not too bad. So the song that I've randomized for you today, so just close my eyes, ask for a song for Aquarius. You've got Survive by David Bowie, Bowie. I always call him Bowie, and I think it's pronounced Bowie. I don't know why I do that. Oh, my naked eyes, I should have kept you. I should have tried. I should have been a wiser kind of guy. I miss you. Give me wings. Give me space. Aquarius, you like your space. Give me money for a change of face. These noisy rooms and passion pants. I love you. Where's the morning in my life? Where's the sense in staying right? Who said time is on my side? I've got ears and... Shush. I've got ears and eyes and nothing in my life, but I'll survive your naked eyes. I'll survive. You alone across the floor, you and me and nothing more. You're the great mistake I never made. I never lied to you. I hated when you lied, but I'll survive your naked eyes. I'm sorry if you can hear noisy neighbours there. Yeah, Beetle Boys, all snowy white, razzle dazzle clubs every night. I wish I'd sent you a Valentine. So it's like a relationship that never was, or something. It's like, I wish I'd reached out to you when I had the chance. I wish, you know, things were different, but I'll survive my mistakes, is how that feels. So I don't know if that applies to you, if that's something somebody feels towards you, or you feel about somebody else. Oh my goodness, what's going on? There's about 1 million people outside. Okay, we're good. Right, so Aquarius, I'm sorry if you can hear me banging around with my coffee cup as well there. What do we have for Aqua? The vow. Oh, this is an interesting one. Yeah, it feels like a change of perspective. I mean, you are the hangman card in the tarot. And the vow questions, the vow says, what have you been committed to? What have you given your word to? Is that actually something... Are the conditions of that the same as they were when you made that commitment? Do you have to renegotiate a contract? Do you have to rethink what you're committed to because, you know, it no longer works for you, or, you know, the situation, that contract between you and another person perhaps doesn't work out anymore? So it's, are you going to stay committed to this original vow, or do you need to renegotiate the terms, is kind of the meaning of this. And it has that feeling of, your perspective has changed on that original commitment. Now, this could be a number of things. Obviously, it could be marriage, right? But it doesn't have to be a marriage. It could be a work contract. It could be, you know, I agreed to, it could be something like, okay, when I signed up 7 years ago and I signed this contract with this company, I agreed to the minimum wage. However, you know, fuel prices are going up, this is going up, that's going up. I'm more skilled now, I've got more knowledge. So I feel like I deserve a pay rise. This original contract, it worked for me at the time when I was a novice, but now that I'm a established person with a lot of skill, a lot of talent, a lot of input into this business, I feel like I deserve, you know, double what I was originally signing for. I'm not prepared to work for this money anymore. So it could be a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different reasons why an original promise might have to be renegotiated. You know, even if this is a marriage or a long-term relationship for you, you could get to a certain point and say, you know what, I recognize that I'm feeling really stifled in, you know, the terms of this relationship, and I need a little bit more freedom to be able to be a little bit more independent. This is very, very Aquarius energy. So again, people may be cross-watching for an Aquarius or have Aquarius in their own chart. Aquarius doesn't really like to do things by the book or follow the rules. They're always, with them being a air sign, which is all about thoughts and innovation as well, innovation of ideas and thoughts. Is very, very Aquarius. It's like your mind is always changing. Your mind is always ahead of the curve, if you like. It's funny, Capricorn had always thinking 4 steps ahead, and you're very similar, Aquarius, in terms of like, if you think about like the community, if you think about humanity, if you think about groups of people in general, you are often the first to embrace new ideas, new ways of thinking, you know, and you are one of the first to kind of break those societal structures. You are this innovative sign. So I do feel like you have committed to something, which again, being a very idealistic sign, you know, full of ideas of like the honorable thing to do, the right thing to do, you know, being above the kind of like base instincts of other people. So it's like, it could be like, I agreed to this marriage because you know, people shouldn't have affairs, because that is something that comes from, you know, being impulsive and not thinking about the long term, because you can be quite stoic. So this is more like but recognizing, oh, I do actually have needs here. So it could be something like, again, throwing scenarios out there. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody. It could be something like, okay, so I love my partner. I have committed to them. I am going to, still continue to pay the mortgage. I'm still going to raise the children, but, we're not sexually attracted to each other anymore. We've got this great friendship, but there's no chemistry in the bedroom anymore. This isn't, and we both recognize this. So maybe while I'm still going to stay in this stable home and environment and like be a good father to my kids and a good friend to my partner, maybe we need to have an open relationship. So I'm not saying that's for everybody. Again, Aquarius is quite a experimental sign, but not all of you are going to be that way. It's going to depend on your full birth chart, especially like your Mercury placement, your Venus placement, your Mars placement, and your moon, because your moon is kind of what you're like behind closed doors. And again, it's this idea of like not condemning. So again, it could be in the past I'm not saying, again, the situation can be different. It can be a completely different situation from what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be work. It doesn't have to be partnership. It could be your relationship to your parents or your friends, or so many different community, right? Like some kind of community group that you've made a promise to, and like you're like, do you know what, this isn't working anymore. The society's changed, the neighborhood's changed, we need to do things a different way. So it is this idea of like, okay, maybe I judged people like this in the past. Maybe I was like projecting onto them because I saw myself as somebody who was like noble and loyal and committed. And, if I make a promise, I'm going to keep that promise, so how dare other people break those kind of promises? But then it's, as you gain that different perspective through life experience, you start to say, I can understand now why they did that thing. So it could be something like, maybe I feel like you used to get this when I started doing readings a lot. It could be something like your parents got divorced and you were like, how could they do that to me? Like, they got married, they had a commitment. Like, I would never break a marriage. If I was going to make that kind of commitment to somebody and marry somebody, it would be for life. That's what you say. Those vows have to carry weight. But then getting to a point where, something happens and you think, oh my God, this commitment that this marriage that I've walked into, and it doesn't even have to be like anyone betrayed anyone. It could be like you and your partner are like, whoa, hang on, this isn't working for us anymore. Maybe we want to divorce, maybe we want to do something different. And then realizing that, all those things, it could be like a neighbor, a neighbor got divorced and you were like, oh, that's really sad. But then you're like, oh, hang on, maybe it was right for them. And maybe it was right for mum and dad. Maybe it's right for me too. So, yeah, it could be anything. I'm going to read the actual book. And again, some of you will be like, no, I made this commitment. I made this commitment for really good reasons. There's a lot of, maybe you need to do like a list of pros and cons and maybe like get some other perspectives as well. But it's like, I'm going to recommit. I'm going to sign again on the dotted line. I'm going to renew this contract with work, because it does suit me. But it feels like a choice point of like making sure it fits. Do you want to renew it or do you want to try something different? I remember years ago you had that analogy of ice cream, right? It's like, if you've only ever had vanilla ice cream, if you've only ever, you might be like, I love ice cream is my favorite food, but you've only had vanilla. And it's like, and one day you think, do you know what, there's a lot of different flavors, maybe I want to try one. And you try chocolate ice cream or pistachio ice cream or mint chocolate chip or tutti frutti, right, or cookie dough ice cream, and you're like, oh my God, this is really good. I can't believe I've been having vanilla ice cream for all these years, and there's like so many different flavors to try. And then it's like, and I want to try more flavors now. So it's like, do you see how I mean? It's like a perspective change where the vanilla ice cream, yeah, it's nice, right? There's nothing wrong with vanilla ice cream, but you're missing out on all these other flavors. Right, okay, so the promise, the oath, the contract. When the vow is spoken, the air shifts, karmic ties are formed, the destiny tilts on its axis. Our words and intentions have immense power. There is a reason the great mythic stories of our past often include the recitation of oaths and the mixing of drops of blood as the mark of a union. The trick, don't mix your blood. That's, if anyone grew up like I did watching My Girl, there was a big outcry. It was like, make sure your kids don't do that. That's really bad. Okay. The tricky part is that the reciting of a vow, no matter how casually, activates the eternal and unseen forces of the world. The ancestors bear witness. The laws of nature respond. These promises cannot be said, unsaid, or forgotten. So breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow that we are living by, either consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. You've been underestimating the power of your promises. When like bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. Go deeper, learn the yamas, the 5 vows of the seeker. It also talks about when dark, unconscious vows, unkept promises, and messy karma. Think of the last promise you made. Was it to yourself or another? Has it been upheld or broken? So it can be a small thing as well. It can be like, yeah, Mum, I will pick you up and take you to that doctor's appointment. You know, it can be small things. Anytime the energy of a vow is present, we are in the archetypal realm of ceremony and ritual. That means time stands still and anything is possible. I'm really thinking about how I, thought of you, like, as I kind of like stood in that henge. I was like, I feel like this is telling me something. I feel like it's helping me to understand something. It is kind of like a stone circle as well here, look. Like, it's like, I don't know, like the passing of time or something. I don't know. Like all tribes coming together to make a commitment. We all promise to, not fight each other. We stand united. Makes me think of all that kind of thing. Right, the Queen of Wands. So you're showing as the Queen of Wands. Again, it feels like you've been inspired by somebody else to break the rules and go after the things that you're passionate about. And to be confident in doing that. The Queen of Wands faces a lot of criticism because she's seen perhaps as selfish or, people don't like a strong, confident, independent woman. Sometimes you can put them up on a pedestal, but at the same time, they historically, we're taught all these different examples through media, through stories of this character being a homewrecker, this character being somebody who upsets the patriarchy, Again, I think I talk about this in your readings quite often. The Film Council of America in old Hollywood, when Marilyn Monroe was making movies, they committed to a set of rules that said any female who is overtly sexual has to either die at the end or get married. She has to, in some sort of way, either face the consequence for being a independent, sexually liberated woman, or she has to be tamed, right? Because the Film Council were working in partnership with, the brain makers of America at that time, the people who were making the rules, who were trying to establish a society, who were trying to say, we want to, have this kind of like 1950s 2.4 children traditional home. And so these people who are a threat to that have to face a consequence as a kind of moral lesson through that storytelling of the film. So you can watch old Marilyn Monroe movies where she, there's movies where she's very liberal, but she does get killed or married at the end. So, and this rule was in effect for a long time in Hollywood, and so we've grown up with this all this storytelling that has created this archetype in our mind of, well, you don't want to be that woman because she's the bad one, or she's the, the one with the ill fate, she's the one who's doomed. But it's because we have inherited this entire culture. I mean, depending on where in the world you are and, what media sources you've been exposed to, we've inherited this entire storytelling culture where, this woman is something to be controlled. But why should she be? Because she's confident. She is, quite open and honest about what she wants, and she's not immoral in any sort of way. She just knows what she wants and she's going for it. This is the kind of woman that in today's society we're starting to celebrate. So yeah, she could be a rule breaker, but she does it in a way where she's breaking through those glass ceilings so that other people can follow them and also be liberated. So I love the Queen of Wands. She's one of the coolest energies, I think. But again, it feels like you've been in contact with somebody like this, possibly a Libra, because Libra's been coming through this dark horse energy quite a lot, and which I wouldn't say is usual energy for Libra as well. It's strange to me that they should come through like that so much, because they're normally they're not the rebels, Libra. Normally Libra's the energy that toes the line, but they've had something going on recently with their energy. So and again, it's always felt like it feels like a projection. So I'm a Libra, and someone criticized me recently and said they called me a witch, right? And I don't know what they were saying, because they didn't make a huge amount of sense. And again, I'm Libra Mercury, so I argue from a logical point. And so when people just blurt out a load of stuff, that sound bites from the news that don't make any sense, and they're not thinking for themselves, I'm like, all right, bye. Bye, random person on the internet. But yeah, they called me, they were like, witch, like it's an insult. I was like, do you know what? I don't think of myself as a witch, but if, what's, I don't know, it's just such a weird thing to say. I was like, all right, bye. But again, it's like they don't know me as a person. They don't understand my point of view. They've projected their own fears, their own weird media bubble of random stuff information that they've been fed onto me, right? They've projected their fears onto me in a way where they haven't understood me at all. So I feel like you did this to somebody, recognized that you were doing this, and also recognized that they had broken through some kind of glass ceiling, so that you could actually also be liberated in some sort of way from a vow that no longer serves the purpose. Now, of course, I'm not saying that marriage is a bad thing. I'm not saying it's marriage. Like I say, it could be work, it could be friendship commitments, it could be family commitments. What I'm saying is that we constantly have to reevaluate, right? Because a lot of the time, you could even look at like political systems. A lot of the time we do all agree to things, all laws, some laws are ridiculous now. It's like, why do we still have that law? Nobody thinks that's a good idea, but it's because at the time that law, in that specific point in time, in that specific environment and community, that law made sense for that community. But things change, society changes, and so these things that were agreed upon sometimes are no longer fit for purpose. And a new system can come in, a new law, a new contract that fits everybody a lot better. So it's not even like anyone's being selfish here and kind of being like, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. But those people who do that are the trailblazers that make people, they break out of the edges of those bubbles, right? They burst those bubbles. And yes, it's a shock to everybody when that happens, that someone should go against the grain. But at the same time, it makes people rethink. It makes people say, oh, do you know what? They have a point. So really, really interesting. And again, if you are in a long-term relationship, a long-term marriage, and that is working for you, and you're into it, and it's your whole vibe, you're happy, kids are happy, happy marriage, happy home, then that's brilliant. I love that. Like, I love that for you, and I love that for more people. But some people get into marriages that, the person changes, or, they marry somebody without really knowing who they are or who they would become, and think, people stay in marriages that are horrifically toxic, where the children are in a horrific environment. And anyone who says that people should maintain that, I think are kind of tyrannical. It's every single individual circumstance has to be evaluated on an individual level. You can't have a blanket rule, because blanket rules don't take into account all the different complexities that you can have in a situation. So I don't know, maybe there's something going on with like marriage laws. Sometimes when I get stuff like this, it's like because there's something going on with politics. I don't know, terms of divorce. In the UK, actually, recently, they've had a change to divorce law where until this law was changed, you always had to assign blame, right? You always had to be like, it's this person's fault the marriage fell apart. And sometimes, the law has recognized that actually sometimes people just drift apart, right? Sometimes things just don't work anymore. And it's not necessarily that somebody's to blame. So they've dropped the need for a blame. You can have a no blame divorce now in the UK, which I think is progression, right? It's a nicer way of, rather than almost being forced to blame each other when perhaps nobody's at fault, the law now recognizes that, sometimes things just don't work out and it's nobody's fault. So I like that. I think that's an example of a renegotiation of an old vow, right? An old law that has been changed for the better in a way where it's more, you know, live and let live, like bygones be bygones kind of thing. Okay. So compassion and understanding and being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes seems like a strong factor of this reading. Aquarius. I'm just going to pull all these cards and then we'll kind of like figure out what's going on for you. Aquarius. A hidden truth. Something that is a secret, but I feel like it could be something within you that you're recognizing as a truth, right? Something that you've kept hidden from yourself that you're now kind of shining a light on from within you, but will clarify. Could be about children, soulmate connections, equal relationships where there's equal give and take, and emotionally. I saw the Queen of Wands then. The Magician peeked out and something's fallen on the Queen of Wands. 2 Swords. You feel like you have to block this energy. And I want to say it's some kind of knee-jerk reaction. It's like you feel like you have to... The Magician's fallen off again. It's like you... Again, I'll clarify further, but that instinctively to me, because it landed on the Queen of Wands, it's like, and this is you, right? This is a part of yourself that knows what you want. You want to go out and get it. You feel confident that you can go out and get it. Something that you're really passionate about. And it's not something that you're kind of being spontaneous about. And, you know, you're not kind of doing something where it's like, I don't know, I got drunk at a party and I had an affair with a stranger. It's not that at all. That's more like the Knight of Wands energy. This is like... I'm really passionate about this. I've thought about this for a long time. I know that this is right for me. I've like, whenever I think about this thing, you know, I get this huge burst of energy inside me. It makes me feel excited. Like, you know, I know this is for me and I really want to go and get it. You know, she knows what she wants. She's thought long and hard about it and she's very sure of herself and very assertive. And this is a part of you. So no matter how you identify, right, no matter what your gender is, this is just a part of yourself that really wants to express their needs and desires in a really confident, expressive way. But you feel this instinctive knee-jerk reaction to hide this part of yourself or to suppress this inside you in some sort of way. So, but it's like suppressing an authentic part of yourself. So I don't feel like that's something that is going to make you happy in the long term. This is the thing. It's because it's almost like you're... Yeah, look at that conflict. Yeah, no, it's like what's it like? It's like delaying the inevitable in some sort of way, but it's almost going to cause more problems to not be honest about this, because it's like a denial of your shadow, right? If you want to do Carl Jung, you know, your own shadow, it's like the more you suppress it, the more it kind of comes out in kind of like more destructive ways. So if you want to go and look up that, if you've never looked that up before, yeah, oh God, why are you doing this? 4 of Cups there. I want to say that perhaps you have children, you know, you're considering, you know, yes, I could go and do that. I could go and show this part of myself, but what would that do? You know, how it's going to have an effect on people around me. It's going to look, no, you can't. This is going to happen. I feel like this is something that's fated for you. It's going to happen one way or another, right? And it's like, are you going to go with this? Are you going to be truthful? Are you going to be authentic? And you're going to be honest with yourself about your own personal needs and have this exciting new start? Or are you going to keep trying to fool yourself and trick yourself that, you know, you can suppress this part of yourself when ultimately, yeah, no, it's going to come out in destructive ways if you do that. I don't know what this is for you. Sorry, I'm not trumping, I'm just shifting around on my chair if you can hear those noises. Just have a bit of coffee. You really want this, right in the center of you reading that full card. You really, really want this. You could just, and this is what I mean, when you suppress something for so long, it can just be, say for example, it was, you know, if we go back to that scenario of being like at the office party, you know, just in the spur of the moment kind of going off with somebody, like off into a side office and kissing them, you know, it's like that's really spontaneous, right? And I'm saying that that's kind of like not what this is. And it's not. This is somebody who's like, um, I'm getting, I've got the hots for you, and one way or another. You know, she's quite determined. She knows what she wants, right? Obviously, I'm not recommending anyone kind of like go off with a married man or anything like that. Like, you know, you've got to respect the commitments and the vows of other people. You know, if somebody's married, it's like they're married, right? Hands off. But it's more like, you know, say you and somebody else are in, you know, you're not in a relationship, you're not in a committed relationship, but perhaps there's a work contract involved, and you really like this person, and you've been watching them, I don't know, for that 7 years you've been working there, you've had your eyes on this person, and you're like, I know that they're for me, I know they feel this way about me, we have this great relationship together, I really feel like this could be something that could, I mean, it doesn't have to be a relationship, right? It could be a work project. Like, I know if me and that person got together and, you know, we could start this new project and it would be amazing. I know that it could be like something that go from like, it's funny that that engine's revving, because I was going to say it's something that could go from like 0 to 60. You know, it could be like this massive like opportunity. And I know I've thought about it for ages and I'm really excited about it. But I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to ask my boss for this. I'm not going to pitch that idea to them. I'm just going to bottle this up because, you know, we've already committed to this other thing. It wouldn't be right. Right. It's that kind of thing. And then getting drunk at the office party. And because the fool is impulsive, the fool is like, balls to the wall. This feels like, right, let's do it. So it's like being at that party and being like, having a few drinks and like, I don't know, ending up sat next to this person and being like, I've always wanted to do this project, and they're like, me too, and then being like, right, let's go start this project. You know, it's that kind of like, but it feels like people aren't going to take you seriously. Let's go and talk to the boss about it right now at this office party when we're both drunk. It's like the boss isn't going to take you seriously because you're in full energy, right? But if you'd approached them the week before in this energy, right, sober in the office with this person, like, here's the project that we're pitching, then, you know, it would have had a better effect. So that's an example of how when you deny this part of yourself, it can come out in a more destructive, impulsive way. But we'll see. So, Ace of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Four of Cups. So again, this hid itself in the deck. So this tells me this is a hidden truth. You recognize this truth. You feel this as a truth. You know that this is, it's like brand new information that you feel on a emotional level, right? Or you want to speak a truth, an emotional truth. There's something here that's new, it's honest, but it's hidden, and it's hidden in your emotions. So tell me about that Ace of Swords. Look at that, Four of Pentacles, Four of Cups. There's a brand new cycle here, but it's like the brakes are on. It's like you are holding back. You are not taking this opportunity. You are not allowing this new phase to come in. Even though you know it, you feel it, you know the truth of this, you are guarded against it. You've got the blocks on this, right? The wheel is not turning. And I want to say it's because you mentally are juggling with whatever this is. The Four of Cups in your action space tells me that you're trying to ignore something. You're trying to ignore something that's on offer. You're trying to act like you're not interested. You're trying to act like you're not seeing it, probably because you've been disappointed about other things in the past that didn't work out. So you've got your back turned to whatever this is, even though you know it, even though you know what this is on an emotional level, pretending you don't see it. Two of Pentacles, please. And yeah, it's somebody trying to bring you friendship, love, an offer. You're thinking, how do I say this? How do I express this? How do I pitch this idea? And it's coming from an emotional place, and it is quite impulsive. It is quite instinctive, and you're trying to remain balanced. You're trying to juggle your thoughts in some sort of way. So you're in this, again, it could be, some of you could be juggling a relationship, but that's not for everybody. It is this weighing things up in your mind, right? Weighing up the possibilities of this, but trying to keep it hidden. Weighing up the rights and wrongs of a situation. But it feels really good. It's really speaking to your heart, whatever this is. It really feels like it's for you. And yet you're acting like you don't know this person. So it could be, again, it's like someone could have really, you know, they could really feel like a soulmate with that Six of Cups for you there, you know. And again, this could be a romantic relationship where you think this is my dream person, or, you know, having your eye on somebody for 7 years and suddenly they're showing an interest in you and you're like, whoa, like this is really good. Or it could be, you know, a friend, a colleague at work, and, you know, you just know that you're going to get on really well. You know, it doesn't have to be romantic, but it's something where, you know, there's another person involved, there's emotions involved. you're clear about this, like you're clear about what this means to you emotionally. You know this is what you need in some sort of way, but that Aquarius brain of yours is ticking over. So it's like it could be you're ignoring this person in the office. They come into the room, you walk out the room, or somebody mentions the name and you're like, who? It's like you're pretending. You've got this kind of like feigning disinterest thing that you're doing, but you're proper in your head about it, really weighing it up. Yeah, no, there's an offer. You've got Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles. This is the Ace of Cups. That Knight is holding the Ace of Cups. You've got all 4 aces. Big new offer, big new opportunity. It could be a new contract coming in. Could be a new offer to go and work in a different office. A new project. It could be more money coming in. It could be that pay rise. And you've got this thing about like acting like you've not seen it, acting like, what pay rise? What project? No, I've not heard anything about that. But I feel like you are being strategic, right? You're doing this on purpose because you're really secretive about this. It's like, no, I've not heard anything about that. Who? What person in the office? What project? You're like, you've really gone that about it. So you are being very strategic, very sly about this, creeping around, speaking to the boss without anyone else knowing, whispering to somebody about this. What is this house? Ace of Cups, there you go. Whatever this is, brand new start, brand new fresh start. Feels really good, feels like it's for you, it's divinely guided. All the aces are brought in by the hand of God. So this is something that's meant to happen. You had the Wheel of Fortune there. Brand new, fresh start, feels amazing. Don't want anyone else to know about it. It could be that kind of thing of like, a new position at work coming up. A chief Aquarius, chief creative, out of the box thinker. And you're like, this is what I was made for. This is for me, right? It's like the boss may have even made this job for you because it's like, we need this, right? The company needs this position. We need somebody to fill this role. Aquarius, you're the perfect fit for it. I'm going to make this job. You're going to do this job, right? It was made for you. But it's like, don't tell everybody in the office because then everybody's going to start applying, So it's that kind of thing of like, you get this sense of something, again, kind of 4 steps ahead energy. Something's in the wind. Something's being created. That it's for you. It's like God brought this big finger down and like pointed to you and went, you are the future king, Aquarius. And you're like, yeah, okay, got it. Yeah. I'm going to do this. You are kind of weighing up, is this right or wrong? But at the end of the day, being strategic, because it's for you, right? It's going to fall into your lap. You don't need to overcomplicate it by like wandering around the office with a paper crown and going, I'm the new king of the office. Because then everybody's like, well, I want to be king of the office. Like, why do they get to be king of the office? And I'm going to be king of the office. So you're going to be king of the office, Aquarius. It's fine. It's great. The Fool card really feels like it's for you, really feels divinely guided. You are thinking, I'm going to take a leap of faith here. I'm going to go for this, right? Yeah, it may seem really impulsive. It may seem really silly, but other people don't have to understand. It's going to be a shock. This is going to shock people. It could be some kind of celebration. Again, I'm getting this kind of office party thing. Could be a real shock to people. Could be really unexpected. Like, Aquarius is doing what now? But it's a few people aren't going to like it. But again, I'm putting that back in there. I split the deck. It's the King of Cups. You know that this is the right thing to do. You've thought long and hard about it. You've weighed up your options. It's coming from a deep emotional place of deep, honest truth. 6 of Cups in your feelings there. Yeah, Knight of Cups again. Yeah, it feels like it could be a soulmate connection. Again, I don't know if this is a love interest for you. A lot of indicators here tell me that it is. But again, it could just be somebody who's on your level, right? They feel things the way you feel them. They feel the same way about things. They're going to put as much emotions into this project as you are. Equal give and take. It could be also the idea of having children. You really want to have children or something like that. It doesn't mean that's for everything. It could be something about past lives. I feel like I've known you from a past life. Really noticing these 2 chimneys in the background. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, you really want to express your feelings about this. This is like a burning desire to really say how you feel about something. Like, this is really coming from the heart. And I think when people speak from the heart, when they've put a lot of thought into something, when they really know their own truth, right, about whatever this is for you. People, when you speak that truth, yes, some people are not going to understand, some people are not going to listen, some people are going to project their own fears or their own insecurities onto you. But when you speak from the heart, when you really let your feelings flow in a really authentic way, think about people who are on, like, you know, like the X Factor or The Voice, you know, when they all of a sudden spontaneously speak from the heart about something that, you know, they know is something deep and meaningful for them, especially if it's like a hidden secret, right? A hidden, something that they've never expressed out loud before. And just in this moment on stage with all these people watching, they pour their heart out, and it comes from that authentic, deep place of a deep, honest truth. Whether you agree with them or not, it really, people really feel that, you know, empathy. And yes, they might not agree, but they understand where that person's coming from, and it can have a profound effect on other people too, where, you know, they can see something from a different perspective. What's the Two of Swords? Blocking it. What is this? What is this at Knight of Cups for you? Oh, it's the Two of Cups. Of course it's the Two of Cups. This, you have feelings for somebody, or you have feelings and somebody else is involved in this and they feel the same way, and you are emotionally trying to put a cork on these feelings. There's some conflict here. You could have fear of conflict, fear of people not understanding. Yeah, so you're grinding to a halt. This is what we saw up here. You've got this pulling back on the reins, putting the blocks under the wheels, not taking this any further. This has to end. This has to stop. But it's the Ace of Wands. And I don't think you can... Yes, there's going to be conflict here, but sometimes you have to... Sometimes you have to let the momentum of the fuel, right, the feelings and the passions, you have to let that... They show me like a horse running through a battlefield. So it's like everybody's fighting, but you get on your horse and you just sprint. It's almost like threading the needle or something. It's like the actual momentum is going to push you through here. Like bowling balls, they're showing me bowling balls as well. But you're trying to... Could be because you're kind of getting a bit obsessed with this because it's so meaningful to you. It's like you're starting to think, oh my God, is this getting out of control? Or, you know, that sense of panic where you reach the top of a roller coaster and you look down and you think, oh my God, maybe I don't want to do this anymore, but you can't stop it, right? It's like you want to put on the brakes, but you can't. Eight of Pentacles, working hard on something, perfecting something, ready to commit to something. What is going on in your actual action space then? So this moment of like panic, this moment of like, wait, we need to stop this. But I don't think you can stop this. I think it's like, it's beyond you. It's almost like fated. It's like for you. It's positive. God wants you to do this if you believe in God. It's like there's no stopping this. It's meant to be in some sort of way. What's the Eight of Pentacles? But you're trying to hold... No, the Sun card and the Queen of Pentacles. This is... You're bringing in something here. You're bringing in a brighter future. You're bringing in some sort of change that's going to be beneficial to everybody. But you feel like you're breaking through the glass ceiling, right? You feel like you're the first to break down these walls, you know, to go against the grain, to bring in that new perspective. And it's something you're very, very committed to. So when you start doing this, yes, you're going to have fears. You're going to have a desire to... run away from the battle, right? You're going to want to, because this is like almost blurting something out and then everybody's turning to you and being like, you know, if this is like you getting a job, right? You know, somebody says it at the office party and everybody's like, wait, we want to, because this is a card about competition, right? People being competitive, people fighting for something. So it's like everybody else is like, well, I want to apply for that job as well. It's that kind of thing of like, you know, everybody turns and kind of like, what do you mean you're doing this? What do you mean you're going to do this project a different way? Capricorn had this thing about, got Cappy here, like doing something a different way. It's like there's going to be resistance because whenever somebody does something new and novel and innovative, people, you know, are like, they cling, right? Especially if they've got Cancer placements, they cling to the past way of doing things. They cling to what they know. They cling to the old routines. So it's going to be difficult for you to go against the grain, but I almost feel like you've got all this energy of like the universe supporting this, the universe being at your back. You know, it's like the universe is the wind beneath your horse's feet, like propelling you forward. It's like things are going to clear, your path is going to be made clear. And it's something to do with how committed you are to this, how hard you work. Maybe you've got some kind of perfectionist trait. I mean, Aquarius can be idealists, but it's like it's going to bring liberation, it's going to bring happiness. This is the most positive card in the deck. So keep that momentum as your kind of battery fuel. Keep that, keep your eyes focused on the prize, keep your eyes focused on the light, on the light at the end of a dark tunnel. If you're going through some kind of, it feels like you're running a gauntlet, right? It feels like you're going through, it feels like you've got to run through the battlefield to get to the green field on the other side. So it's this moment of almost fear where you kind of like, you want to kind of deny that this is for you, but I want to say that you're gonna push through it, right, to this better situation at the other side, because it's like you have the vision. Okay, I want a song. I really like getting a song at this point in the reading. So can I have a song, please, for Aquarius at this point in the reading? What do they need to know so you understand better? Oh, I've got an advert. An advert for sex. You need to understand sex better. You need to try more flavours of ice cream, Aquarius. That's a joke. I'm going to pause and just let that advert play through. But it was something by Sofia Karlberg, like On My Mind or something. I'm just going to wait a second and get the lyrics up. Hold on. Okay, so any of those adverts could mean something to you. So we have that sex advert, CEX. It's like a computer trading store, a computer game trading store. But they had a clip that was from Star Wars, and it's that quote that's like, I'm going to misquote it. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. But it's like, you can strike me down, but I'll come back more powerful than you can ever imagine. And if I felt like that was you here, right? You can strike me down. You can try and knock me down, but you're actually just fueling my fire here, because any criticism that you're making of me is like, whatever I feel, that kind of anger is becoming my fuel to actually commit to this further. Aquarius, you don't like being told what to do. There could also be something about, again, if this is like office for you, like you could be working in communications. It's a natural, especially technology and communications could be a natural career move for you. It's very Aquarius. Aquarius, your ruling planet, Uranus rules technology, technological innovation. You are swords energy or an air sign, which is all to do with communication. So that could be something for somebody. They also mentioned this Black Swan event, which seems to be some kind of the unexpected happening, the tower moment, the shit hitting the fan, if you like. I'm sorry for the swear, but that's kind of like what it's saying, like this unexpected tower moment, and being like, if the unexpected happens, how can we prepare? How can we expect the unexpected? So it may be that this job that some of you may be going into is something to do with that. And there's also an advert for Tiny Dancer by Elton John and Britney Spears, the new cover that's out. So any of those things could mean something to you. The album cover was a picture of Elton John and Britney Spears as little children. Again, you've got something about children up here. So maybe something about yourself when you were a child, the way that you were parented. All these things could apply to you. The song that's randomized is Sofia Karlberg, and it's On My Mind. It's a little dirty how the whole thing started. I don't even really know what you intended. Thought that you were cute and you could make me jealous. Poured it down, so I poured it down. Next thing that I know, I'm in a hotel with you. You were talking deep like it was mad love to you. You wanted my heart, but I just liked your tattoos. Put it down, put it down. And now I don't understand it. You don't mess with love. You mess with the truth. And I know I shouldn't say it, but my heart doesn't understand why I got you on my mind. So it's like getting hooked, right? It's like a hookup where you didn't expect to get hooked, is how that feels. It's like they really liked you, you thought it was fun, or vice versa. And then it's like the player got played, something like that. Why I got you on my mind. Now I always hear them talking about a girl with my name, saying that I hurt you, but I still don't get it. You didn't love me. Well, no, not really. Wait, I could have really liked you. I bet that's why I keep on thinking about you. It's a shame. You said I was good, so I put it down. And now I don't understand it. You don't mess with love, you mess with the truth. My heart doesn't understand why I've got you on my mind. You got yourself in a dangerous zone because we both have the fear of being alone. Yeah, I think that's it. And then the lyrics repeat. So that could be, again, I'll put that in the description box down below with your other songs. So it could be something like that. I don't know. Take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. Aquarius, please. I need an advice card for Aquarius. Thank you. You've got, to be fair, again, Libra energy. I don't know if you've got Libra in your chart or if you're dealing with the Libra, but I get Libra and Aquarius all the time. To be fair and come to the edge. What's come to the edge giving me? It's giving me, trying to give me a song, but I'm not quite getting it. I might just pause and try and see if it comes. Hang on. Okay, I think it's a bit of a controversial song by The Weeknd, where he's saying about taking someone to the edge. Take my breath. Take my breath away. So a bit of a controversial song. Just be careful about that. Okay, I'm going to move swiftly on from that. 38. So we're going to have quite a lot of advice here, guys, so buckle in. I'm going to read the oracle message for both, and then we'll read the relationship message for both, and then we'll read the work message for both. So whatever you're kind of here for, whether this is a general message, whether you're asking specifically about a relationship, if you're asking specifically about work, there's going to be like different versions of the advice for those three things. So the general oracle advice: to be fair, balance, justice, the need to consider options, mutual benefit, the law of cause and effect. Life offers experiences that are challenging and experiences that are nourishing. Yet over time, they strike a balance. You move from being from status to doing, from discovering to loving, to letting go to being again. Life is a pendulum swinging between all these states. You will always oscillate back and forth between doing and being. If you are not content with where you are at this moment, remember that all experiences have their place. Accept them without judgment, and you will see how the universe accepts them. Right, I'm going to read that again because that's what I was picking up on right at the beginning. Remember that all experiences have their place. Accept them without judgment, and you will see how the universe adjusts in perfect balance. You reap what you sow. For every cause there is an effect. Wondrous things will be revealed now. Come to the edge. Courage, taking a leap of faith, which is here in your thoughts, right in the middle of the reading. Overcoming fear and accepting risk. Yeah, definitely feels like what I was picking up on. Facing the unknown is the only choice you really have to face. Wait, hang on. Facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid, and that's what I was saying here. It's like you have this moment of fear where you try and, put the brakes on, but it's like there's too much momentum carrying this forward now. Dogs could be significant to you. There's a dog barking outside. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated. Wow, okay, really interesting. To feel the acceleration as you ready yourself to take a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. It feels like you're being carried on a cloud of almost like the angel wings, right? Carrying you forward. I'm getting this kind of like this feeling of like spirit momentum, right? It's like being caught in almost like caught in a riptide of emotion where, you can fight against it, but spirit is carrying you here. So let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. What did I say, Aquarius? Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head, right? Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you can find your miracles. So those of you who are asking specifically about a relationship, so it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be friendship, it can be family, but it's a relationship. Can you find a way to achieve fairness right now? This is a time for listening as well as speaking, for understanding as well as for asking to be understood. That's what I was picking up on as well, right? This idea of like you projecting onto somebody else rather than just listening to what they have to say. There is much to be learned, and you will learn if you remain open and objective, weighing options, which you're doing here, and considering all sides. Your heart wants to connect to others, so allow for a balanced exchange of ideas and actions. The best kind of relationship is one where there's mutual benefit and each party feels heard, valued, and respected. So be fair to all. So again, this could be a relationship that you're already in where, you know, you have different needs and they need to be discussed. But there's something here where you emotionally, you want this emotional fairness, you want this emotional understanding and give and take. That's kind of the meaning of the Six of Cups there in your emotions. Okay, come to the edge for relationships. It's scary to be truly intimate with somebody, to allow him, her, or they to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected, which was here, right? Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, which again I said in the beginning, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith, and you will be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step towards the gods and they will deliver what you truly desire. But I can see again here, you have that Knight of Pentacles in reverse. It's like you have this moment where it's like you slam on the brakes. You have this moment of like fear of, oh my God, it feels like, what did I do? Because it feels like you just blurt something out. And then you have this moment of like, backtrack. But I feel like once it's out, you can't take it back in. It's meant to be out, right? It's something that has to be said for there to be progress. So try not to lean into that fear so much. Try to go with the flow and be like, whatever happens, happens. I know that this is the divine at play in my life. I know that if there's going to be changes, they're going to be, there might be a moment of difficulty, but when we come out of the other side, you know, when the dust settles, I'm going to find myself in a much better situation, because this is the hand of the universe, my spirit guides, the divine, leading me through something in here that has to happen, is the way it feels. Again, it's an intuitive reading, right? I'm reading for the collective, but it's not a personal reading, and you have to make choices for yourself, right? You have to know your own situation and make the right choices for you, not just follow the advice of a tarot card reader. But again, it's got this feeling of something that's bigger than you, that's destined to happen. So if you find yourself kind of floundering around in the choppy waters after something happens, it's like, just allow the tide to take you where it's taking you. Allow the emotions to take you to the new destination. Because if you keep trying to fight those emotions and fight those riptides, you're going to still end up in the same destination. You're just tiring yourself out trying to resist it, is the way it feels. Okay, for those of you who it's career, now is the time for even exchanges. Justice will prevail and you will be treated accordingly. In all your affairs, you will be able to negotiate fair settlements. Mutual gain is the gift to you and your partners and colleagues. This is also a good time to square your finances and take stock of how you're compensated for your work. Again, I was picking up on that thing about like, you could be more experienced now because you've got that Eight of Pentacles as well than you were when you initially signed that contract. And it could be that you're not getting paid a fair wage for the amount that you contribute to your workplace. So that is not fair, right? So negotiating something fairly means an equal balance. Okay, and you deserve, Aquarius, to be paid fairly for what you bring to the table. Keep this as your truth, which you have here, and so it will be. If there was ever a time for you to take a leap of faith into the unknown, it is now. This is the perfect moment to take a big risk. The unknown is your only choice right now, and if you've come to the edge, you will discover treasure beyond your wildest dreams. Allow your courage to lead you in spite of your fears. You don't need to know the exact form of what you're going for. The essence is much more powerful, and Spirit has a way of delivering an even better vision of prosperity than you could imagine. Take that step, the results will be amazing. So, I don't know, take it as it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. I hope it was helpful to you. Check out the description box below where I'm probably going to pull a couple more songs for you. Hopefully not as many as Capricorn, because that got overwhelming for me. I didn't even include all the songs because there was so many. Hopefully yours will be a bit more succinct, but go and check out that description box. Go and see what songs are there for you and see if that gives you any more epiphanies or advice or direction. But whatever's happening for you, Aquarius, I do feel like you're going to come out of the other side of it and it's going to feel amazing. You're going to be like, what was I even worried about? Like, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. With that sun card at the end of your reading, it's like, I see everything clearly now. It's that feeling of like getting to the end of the finish line, turning back around and seeing how you've like crawled through mud, you've jumped through rings of fire, you know, you've fought your way here to the Goblin City, and now it's like everything for it was for a reason. My clothes are covered in mud because, oh, I've got to sneak past that predator type alien, you know. You know, I jumped through that ring of fire because I now recognize that I have courage. It's like the Wizard of Oz or something, right? It's like learning the lessons along the way. I recognize now that I had to fight those battles. I had to run through that battlefield because I had to understand the, you know, I had to understand the I had to be brave, I had to be passionate, and how that got me through. It's like everything that happened along that journey was for a reason. And now I'm stood here, you know, bathed in sunlight in this field with this sense of freedom and, you know, people I love around me. And it's like, I understand now. I understand now why it had to be that way, is the way it feels. So that feels very that feels very standing at the golden gates at the end of your life. But like if we roll it back, it's like, you know, whatever you're going through, whatever battles you're facing, you're gonna get that sense of perspective when you look back and you see things, you know, for the lessons that they were trying to teach you. Okay, I'm gonna go. I hope that was helpful. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye, Aquarius.